Well, welcome everybody to the Chiropractic Podcast. I'm Dr. Todd Osborne, or Dr. Oz, as many of you know me, and I have the pleasure today to sit down with Baron Hogue, who heads up One Chiropractic and the Chiropractic Defense Council, among other things. And this guy is out there making it happen for progress in chiropractic moving forward, and not only defending where we're at right now, but he has a vision for the future of chiropractic, and is really the top organizer in chiropractic today, in my opinion, and many others' opinions. So thanks for joining us today, Baron. And so why don't you just start out, just give a little bit of overview for those that don't know you, and what One Chiropractic Defense Council is doing and what it's about.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Doc. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. So I'm celebrating my 31st year in the profession of chiropractic. I am not a chiropractor, although I like to play one occasionally. But I call myself the profession's biggest groupie. I fell in love with this profession intellectually. I wasn't a patient. I didn't have a miraculous patient experience myself. I took a job at a chiropractor's office and kind of fell in love with what it was and what it was doing and what I was seeing. And through my journey, I just became a student of chiropractic. I hated not understanding why the adjustment did what the adjustment did. And it was a little frustrating for me because I'd ask my doctor or I'd ask other doctors, and all I would hear was hard bone on soft nerve. And although there's definitely an element of that didn't fit with me with what I was seeing in the practices. Like, I understand that for maybe sciatica pain or headaches, but when we're having women that couldn't get pregnant and all of a sudden they're getting pregnant, and we had people that were dealing with lifelong issues that the medical world wasn't able to fix, just off the shoot, digestive issues, not being able to sleep, anxiety, depression. These were things we were experiencing, and hard bone on soft nerve it wasn't working for me. So I went on this big search and attended as many seminars as I could. I went to technique seminars. I listened to everyone from Dan Murphy to Heidi Hovick to anyone I could get a hold of and see. I remember going to Mount Orb and going to Troxel's office and looking at Gonstead, and I physically sat in there for 3 straight days watching what was this Gonstead thing. And so I've just been a student of the profession, and the more I learn, the more passionate I get about making sure the world understands what chiropractic is. So I started doing consulting. I was really good at helping doctors with the business aspect of healthcare. I did that for about 10 years, and then I took the position as the executive director of the Ohio State Chiropractic Association. That was probably when the scales were really ripped off my eyes on how this profession truly operates. You see things optically. Everyone has an opinion. The profession as a whole really doesn't believe or trust in associations. I only say that because of the membership of these associations. Most people don't realize that of the 192,000 chiropractors in the U.S., there's only about 8,000 of them that belong to a national association combined. So whether it's ACA or ICA, it's a pretty sobering statistic. It's sad, really. And then you take that down to the state level, and we've only have 6 states that actually have more than 50% of the licensed chiropractors as members. That's even a more sad statistic. That means about 80% of our profession is relatively uninspired. They just don't belong because they don't believe in what's being sold. They don't trust the organizations that they're working with. They don't feel like it's relevant to their day-to-day life. So they don't. What's really thriving in our profession are groups like yours. When you find a tribe, or you have a consulting group, or you have a technique group where you're around a bunch of people that believe what you believe, and then we have hundreds and hundreds of those types of organizations, and that's really where people are engaged.
Right.
So, as I got into that consulting world and started doing that, or into the nonprofit world and running the association, I just saw the handcuffs that are on these organizations, and there really are. And it's no fault of anybody. It's just the way it worked really, really well in the 70s and 80s when people were engaged. Everybody was a member of the Rotary or Lions Club that generation just belonged. That's what you did.
Sure.
Our generations today don't do that. They've lived their entire life on social media. They don't have to go to a club meeting, pay dues. They can live whatever life they want to live on social media. So as associations are still running relatively archaically, and what I mean by that is you're a member organization. You have elections to elect your board. There are term limits on those board positions, so you're essentially changing the leadership of your business every 1 to 2 years. Imagine that in any other business in the world where you change your CEO every 1 to 2 years. You never have footing. You never have grounding. You never have really any long-term planning that gets executed well. Then on top of that, you look at the members of your board, although they're amazing humans and great chiropractors, there's a number of them that sit on your board that are just saving a seat. I mean, they're not inspired to be there. They're doing it because someone has to, and we're glad they show up. But it's not like they're showing up because they have the skill set, or they're showing up because they're driven and their priority is the association. Their priority is their practice. And they serve in the association to make sure that the association doesn't do anything to hurt their practice. Nothing wrong with that, but let's just call a spade, right? So this is why I think the profession is relatively uninspired. So in 2016, I left the association and I created our nonprofit, One Chiropractic. One Chiropractic is not a membership organization. It is not hamstrung by having to do votes and elections and all of that and getting permission from the membership to do work. That's another thing for the listeners to understand. An association cannot turn on a dime. It's not built to do that. It's actually illegal for an association to turn on a dime because they have bylaws. Those bylaws require them to get permission. They get some permission from the board, and if it's a big enough decision, they have to go to the actual membership. Well, good luck getting a group of chiropractors to vote on something and it not turn into a massive argument, right?
Exactly right.
So these are the things that I observed during my time there, and I wanted to create an organization that we didn't have that, but it was still a nonprofit. It was still transparent. The money still went back into the business, so it wasn't anybody getting profit or rich or famous off it. But we were nimble enough to be able to go and do the work we needed to do without having to wait for all the levels of permission. And so we created One Chiropractic, and we've just been targeting a number of different things over the years to try to get that done.
Very good. Well, I know you're doing a lot with the Chiropractic Defense Council also, not just defending individual chiropractors, even though you guys do some of that, but really fighting the big fights against government, against mandates, against the things, and even, other countries, going to Australia and doing things there because I know you talked about in Canada and Australia, and, we kind of seem to be disconnected from that. And we're like, oh, well, Canada's, Australia, they're crazy or whatever. But what we don't understand is the fact that they set precedents with this stuff with absolutely no research or no scientific basis behind it, just somebody's opinion because they don't like chiropractors or like chiropractors adjusting babies or whatever it is, and they make that, and then we're foolish to think that won't filter back to us. And I remember reading I believe it was 1954, BJ had written about this in one of his newsletters that came out, but osteopathy was dead set against joining the medical profession. And so what they did, they went in and they got California, the State Association of Osteopathy in California, to join in. And okay, you take this course and you're going to have the same, licensing as we do under the Medical Practices Act or whatever it was in California. And I forget what the number was, but I think it was like within 2 to 3 years, the entire country did that. Just one state, that's all they had to do. Yep. And they knew that. Mm-hmm. And so I just think it's foolish for us to consider the fact that these things that are going on, and so that's why I so much appreciate what you do in the Chiropractic Defense Council of going in and, hey, somebody's got to fight them, and the chiropractors don't have the money to do it. Right. And the associations, like you said, are not strong enough in number to be able to do that, so somebody's got to make this happen. So you may be able to expand on that a little bit of what you're doing and some of the most recent things that you're working on.
Yeah, and first of all, the credit goes to Dr. Stephen Franson. It was his idea. So I started One Chiropractic in 2016. In 2021, I was at an event, and Dr. Stephen Franson, if you don't know who he is, he heads up the Remarkable Practice. A great man, and we were sitting at a meeting, and he was just asking questions about what we'd known of each other, but we hadn't really ever just sat and had a conversation. And so he was, as I told him about my organization, I could just see his eyes getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And he's like, I have an idea that I've been really talking about for 7 years, and I can't find anyone to take it and run with it. And so he shared with me this vision that the profession of chiropractic has been under attack since its inception because we're largely misunderstood. We're getting better now, but we lack the technical terminology to explain accurately what we do, and we definitely have for the last century. And he goes, so we're constantly under attack, but we don't really have a defense system. We have doctors that will rally in their individual state or in their individual province, but we don't really have this like special forces, Navy SEALs team that'll go in, strike, fix the issue, and then get out. And he goes, I have this vision of something called the Chiropractic Defense Council, that we have attorneys, we have lobbyists, we have researchers, content experts, and wherever in the world that chiropractic is under attack, we immediately go and kill it where it's at, and that way it doesn't spread. And I'm just sitting there listening to him, and it's one of those divine moments where I'm like, I'm perfect for that. Like literally, it was like the Damascus Road experience for me, because I started looking back at my path in chiropractic and why I am so passionate about it. Why did I take so much time to understand it and learn it? Why was I so belligerent about my beliefs? And I'm seeing myself, and I just asked him, I'm like, can I have this idea? And he goes, yeah. And so we started the Chiropractic Defense Council as one of our initiatives in 2021. We have about 4 different initiatives that One Chiropractic takes on, but the CDC is definitely one of the bigger ones. And God's timing is always perfect. We started it in February of 2021. August of 21 is when the mandate started hitting from COVID. And we were the only group that was mobilized and ready to go. It started with 7 states in the U.S. We immediately, within 2 months, we had every single state covered. Doctors could practice without being vaccinated in those 7 states. The word spread into Australia. If people remember back in that day, Australia was probably the most draconian country of any country in lockdowns. They had 192 straight days of lockdowns. And I'm talking lockdowns, like restaurants closed, people not leaving their home. I mean, it was insane. And they were very adamant about vaccinations to the point that they were chaining the doors of businesses because people weren't vaccinated. So obviously Australian chiropractors were freaking out. A lot of them went to U.S. schools, had classmates in the U.S. They were talking to them saying, yeah, this group called the Chiropractic Defense Council helped us out. And so that's how we ended up international. I knew that we would get international eventually. I didn't think it would be 2 months after we started the business. And so I'm very, very, very thankful and blessed that that's part of our history. We were able to defend over 900 chiropractors in Australia and kept them practicing. I mean, literally to the point that we had attorneys cutting chains off doors and opening it up for doctors to practice. I'm 50. I'm 30 years into chiropractic. I've heard the stories of the guys getting arrested, going to just do chiropractic. This was a real life situation of the same thing. Like the strength and the love of those chiropractors that were willing to put themselves in danger to go and practice. Yes, partially for economics for themselves, but they also knew that their people needed to be adjusted now more than ever because this unknown, flu was going around. And so it was a phenomenal time for me to just expand my consciousness. Since then, obviously, we were successful there. We ended up in Canada. We ended up in New Zealand and South Africa. And we were very successful everywhere we went because we were organizing chiropractors. It was no longer about your technique. It was no longer about your philosophy of mechanistic versus vitalistic. It was about survival. And it was a phenomenal time of organizing, working together. We were successful because in Australia, we had 1,000 chiropractors that were connected to us. I was doing a video every day. Every single day I was updating them. Okay, yesterday this is what happened. All right, I need you to turn right. I need you to turn left. I need you to put this in your COVID safe plan. The government just came out with this new directive. Here's how I want you to respond to it. And so people were watching my videos every single day. When I visited Australia in 2022 for the first time after the lockdowns were off and after the vaccine requirements were there, I would go there and people would just come and give me hugs and they were like, your videos were the only thing that got me through. We knew someone was fighting for us. We knew someone was doing something. And so that was God's way of just validating all of our work and what we were doing and the importance of organizing this profession of chiropractic. And so now we're still taking on issues. Australia has a pediatric issue. They've determined that chiropractors cannot adjust 2 and under. For no reason. There was no complaints. There was no issue. There was no malpractice issue. It was just the government just decided it doesn't look good, so we're not going to do it. And so we've been suing the government of Australia, working on that and working alongside the Australian Chiropractic Association. They're a great group of people, and we're pushing on that. We also, in Canada right now, we have a major issue in British Columbia where they removed chiropractors' ability to do routine x-rays. So you're talking about any upper cervical doctor, any CBP, any Gonstead, where they do routine x-rays to be able to do an assessment. You could lose your license in BC doing that. We've been fighting that for 5 years now. Cross our fingers next month in October. We think that we're going to know one way or another. Either they're going to change the policy back to what it should be, or we're going to sue the government of British Columbia. So we're in position with that. We have 62 attorneys worldwide right now on retainer. We do that so that we're prepared and ready to go whenever a fight comes up. But we're committed to protecting the rights of practicing chiropractors all over the world.
Well, I'm glad you are. And, you talk about organizing chiropractic, and we're pretty good at organizing during a crisis. We're not very good at organizing when everything seems to be going okay. Right. And I think we could all, any state we're practicing in, we could probably all go, well, I'm not sure my state association's really, right. Doing a whole lot. And we go and lobby, and we go up and meet the legislatures and have legislation day, chiropractic legislation day, and do some of those things. But as far as really impacting and organizing as a large group, I know you were saying, maybe some of the organizations have 7% of chiropractors in them. Yeah. And you think about that and go, what if any other organization had 7% support? Right. What if the AMA had 7% support? Right. What would they be able to do? And so, no one has ever been able to really join chiropractors together. And it's the old story, as long as we're fighting amongst ourselves, none of our enemies have to worry about us. That's exactly right. We circle the wagons and shoot in. It's kind of been the story. But you kind of have a vision for, hey, let's all forget about our differences and talk about what we need to do to keep the profession moving forward. Yeah. And so obviously I think you said 62 attorneys on retainer for what you do. That obviously takes a little bit of money to do that. Yes. And if you want good attorneys, they don't come at $20 an hour.
No, they do not.
And that type of thing. And so, what can we do? What can we say out here to the profession, those listening today? How could they get involved to support this? Because you're there for the profession, but you're also there for them individually. Yeah. They can give you a call. You may or may not have the legal resources to help them, but you can advise them on, hey, here's what we recommend. Here's where you need to go. Here's who you need to talk to. Yeah. That can really work on this. So what can we do as a profession to support the organization and allow this to continue, and we can get to that mass that we need to really make changes?
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff you said there. So I'll, for the sake of time, I'll just kind of break it down. Our funding model was really created around the idea of a bunch of people doing a little bit. I hate asking for money. It is the least favorite thing in the world that I have to do. But in the nonprofit world, we don't make a product. I don't sell a service, right? So I only survive by our contributors. And luckily, again, God's timing was perfect. We grew like crazy because we started in the middle of a storm. But now that we're not in an immediate storm where it's not dramatically affecting each individual person, there's definitely some apathy that's back in the profession. My backyard's not burning, so I'm not too worried about it. But our whole funding model was our goal was to get 10,000 chiropractors giving us $33 a month. That math is very specific. It gives us enough money annually to really be able to sustain the battles. Every battle we take on is a 5, 6, 7 year battle. Their whole strategy is to bleed their opponent dry. They know they're wrong, but they have the army. They have the attorneys on retainer. They have everybody. So they just keep doing stays, or they'll do arbitrations, or they'll do just hearings and different depositions, that's what I was looking for, and they'll just draw things out, right? And most people run out of money because they can't afford to keep paying their attorneys. So our model is $33 a month. We don't want big gifts up front because it doesn't help us. I need to sustain and rebuild my budget every month to keep my retainers going, to keep the fights going. And so, obviously right away people can go to defendchiropractic.org, just contribute $33 a month. That's my first ask. It's designed to be small so it doesn't take away from anything else that's important to you. But I need 10,000. We're at 3,000, so I need more for us to really do the work that we're capable of doing on behalf of everyone in the profession. But what people have to remember and understand is you don't build an army when you're at war. You build an army prior to the war so that you're ready to go for it. And there is a war coming. I'm not a doom and gloom guy. Our profession's not going anywhere. We've survived so much. Our patients love us. The world understands us better now than they ever have. We're not going anywhere as a profession. The real debate at this point is, are we going to be anything more than we are right now? Because we've plateaued as a profession for the last 20 years, meaning the number of chiropractors in the profession has plateaued, number of people going to school. It's actually probably going to shrink a little because more people are retiring and dying than graduating. So that is a scary little statistic. And because of the 2008 economic crisis, there's an enrollment crash that's going to happen in about 5 years, where we're going to have a lot less students. And you can just Google enrollment, and that's for all schools, and you'll see that that's going to hit us just like it's going to hit everyone else. So we do have this season coming up where our profession is going to relatively be smaller than ever, but yet the world understands us more than ever. And then obviously our utilization of chiropractic has plateaued, stabilized. We've been in that 15 to 20% for 50 years of the world choosing to get chiropractic. So I'm not saying we're going away, but we do have an opportunity in the next 3 years, and I don't care people's political leanings, but we definitely have an administration in the United States that's way more open to alternative healthcare than we ever have.
Absolutely.
We see what Robert Kennedy Jr. is doing, what the MAHA movement, Make America Healthy Again movement. I know it's extreme. I know I don't agree with everything that they're saying and doing, but at least they're not bought and paid for. There's an environment where they're willing to sit and hear our methodology of health. So we have an opportunity in the next 3 years to really make some things move that will go for the next 20 years. And so I'm very driven right now to get people to understand there are 3 aspects of our profession that should not be ultimately derivative of your vitalistic or mechanistic views. Legislative, and yes, no pieces of extreme legislation should be passed. We shouldn't be passing to get drugs and surgery in chiropractic, and we shouldn't be passing to remove rights of chiropractors to be able to do DOT physicals. Like, I get it. I understand everyone has their technique, they have their philosophy, and that's fine. And that's the beauty of you owning your own business. You can do that in your own business. But we should have a broad scope, as long as that broadness doesn't take us outside of our core tenets. And our core tenets is that chiropractic is a drugless and a surgery-free profession, period. But others outside of those rails, we have to find a place for us to live. There has to be a camp that we live in. Now, you may call yourself a Christian and decide to go to a Baptist church or go to a Nazarene church or a Wesleyan church, right? So sure. we can do the same thing in chiropractic, right? We can be chiropractors, but then have our groups that we want to survive in. But when it comes to legislative, when it comes to legal, and when it comes to marketing, meaning broad marketing for the world just to understand what the adjustment is, those 3 things should not be under a philosophical flag. They should be something the entire profession wants done and is funding. That is, Buckminster Fuller created or had a quote that has been one of my life quotes forever, and it's that you cannot change an existing reality by fighting it. You have to create a new model that makes the old model obsolete. And it's time that chiropractic creates a new model for the way it operates. Hear me loud and clear. We do not need a new model for how we actually deliver the chiropractic specific adjustment. I'm not saying that. I say we need a new model for how we operate as a profession, because we have failed miserably, the chiropractic profession, because we're unwilling to adapt and change to do things that inspire them. And again, the number of members in these organizations are proof of what I'm saying. I want to build something that doesn't fly a philosophical flag on those 3 tenets. We've already got 2 of the organizations in existence. I'm the legal arm, and then we have the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress, that's the marketing arm. We need to build a legislative arm that is not tied to the ICA, not tied to the ACA, that we can move legislation as a profession, not as an association. That's been the large thing. We've been trying to move. Dr. Oz, you've been in chiropractic for how long? How many years?
37.
Okay. And of those 37, the last 20 of them, we've been trying to pass Medicare monetization.
Yeah.
right? I mean, every year you hear about it. I go to Washington, and every year there's a bill in there, and it never goes anywhere. And it's never going to go anywhere because you've got one group pushing it, another group that's diabolically opposing it, and the rest of the profession that's uninspired. Okay. So until we do something different, until we build this tripod, if you will, this stool of legal, legislative, and marketing, and it's funded properly. And here's the math, guys. If you're listening to this, this is my vision. If we create this oversight organization that's not philosophical, it's just tactical. All they do is tactical work. Like me, I'm a philosophical person. You want to ask me about chiropractic, I'll tell you. But my organization will defend anyone that has a DC after their name and they're practicing within the legal scope of their state or province. I don't care what we've been fighting for DOT physicals. I myself would never want to do DOT physicals in my clinic. Like, that is not the type of clientele I want in my doors. But if it's within your scope and a DC should be able to do it, I'm going to fight to maintain the right for you to continue to do it, right? So there's no philosophical guidance to our work. Our boundaries are, you're a chiropractor, you're allowed to do it in your state, we're going to defend your right to do it, period. So that's the tactical nature of these three organizations. And then we fund it as a profession. So we have arguably 92,000 licensed chiropractors in the United States. If we could get 60,000 chiropractors to give $45 a month, that's $3 million a month. $3 million a month that would go to this oversight organization to make sure that we're legally protected, we're legislating aggressively, and we're marketing profusely. Everybody wants that. Everyone wants to get paid more and see more people. Everybody wants that. So if we could get over ourselves and stop hating somebody because they have a different technique, stop hating someone because they believe a different way, and just say from a legal perspective, we should all be able to practice according to our scope. From a legislative perspective, there should be parity, there should be equal payment, there should be all of these things. And from a marketing perspective, the world needs to understand the power of the specific chiropractic adjustment.
Absolutely.
And that's the world that I'm trying to create.
Absolutely. So if you could get 60,000 chiropractors to just give you, one adjustment, the money from one adjustment.
Yeah.
Each month.
Yeah, it changes the whole game.
And when we look at it like that and break it down, it's like, and you run the numbers and it's $3 million a month. Okay, $3 million a month, you can start making an impact.
And that's more than the budget of any organization that exists in our profession.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So, and I want people to understand that $45 a month. That means you no longer have to give separately to the Foundation of Chiropractic. You no longer have to give separately to me. You no longer have to give separately to your state association. You no longer have to give separately for research. It covers it all. It's a numbers game. We're a small profession, but the good news for us, we've been so miserable at organizing to this point that if we just organize a little bit, the amount of impact that it can have, we are literally any business person's dream because we're so disorganized. If you just organize a little bit, the amount of money and knowledge and impact that this profession can have on the world is huge. I mean, literally, look at what we've been able to do to date with the little, splitting pennies that we've been doing. Right? It's insane.
Exactly.
So, we're protecting the world right now on $1 million budget. So I do $1 million a year, and I'm in 9 countries with 60 attorneys. Right? The Foundation for Chiropractic Progress has about a $2 million budget. And they're doing commercials that are beating out Pepsi, that are beating out Miller Lite during the Olympics. We were really good with a little bit. Imagine if we could actually appropriately fund. Look what Heidi Havoc's been doing with research.
Oh, my God.
And she's scraping the bottom of the barrel for money, but she's proving the true power of the adjustment. Imagine if we could just give her $1 million a month. Just her.
Oh, yeah.
$1 million a month to go do research. Do you know what we could do to
my gosh. Yeah.
So this is the world I live in. This is what motivates me every day. And I'm full of piss and vinegar, and I'm going to keep yelling and screaming, and I'm going to keep traveling and going to places to open people's eyes to say this isn't that complicated. Let's just figure out how we can love instead of fear, and let's come together. I don't want more out of you. I just want something out of you. And if we can just do a little bit, and 45, everyone can afford 45. I don't care if you just opened your practice yesterday. You can afford 45 a month if there's a return on that 45. And if we do this with this oversight group that isn't political, that's transparent, and everyone sees it, everyone knows what's going on, I think if people would commit to that for 3 years, in 3 years we could prove to you how strong our profession can get. And then that's when the fights are coming.
Yeah.
We think that these other groups have been targeting us. You said it early on in this podcast. No, they just stay out of our way.
Yeah.
When we organize and get strong, now they're coming after us. That's why my organization's so important, because Now I'm going to have attorneys that have got 7 years of understanding chiropractic. So when pharma does come after us, when the medical associations truly come after us, we're ready to go. I've got the money in the bank. I've got the attorneys ready to go, and let's play.
Exactly.
Let's have fun. And that's what you're seeing happening right now with Robert Kennedy Jr. when he's standing in front of the legislature, and he's like, bring it on, you morons, because I have all this evidence to support my position. You have nothing. That's the position we're in chiropractic, and it's coming. And so that's why I beat the pavement so hard, and I try to get people motivated to want to be a part of it.
Fantastic. Well, I get excited every time I get to be with you. The other thing that I will say, and I know you can't do them as often as you did before, but you communicate back to the profession. You do videos every so often. I think you have a newsletter type thing now, or an information type thing. And so that's what's great is like a lot of these things we give money to, but we really don't know what they're doing or what's going on. We don't hear the stories of we went and cut the chains off of clinics that were locked up and that type of thing. And so that's what I really appreciate too about your organization is the transparency and like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. You give me a report on British Columbia. You give me a report on Australia. You say, oh, well, we're fighting in California to be able to adjust animals. Whatever you guys have going on, you communicate that back. So it's a lot easier to participate in that and feel like, oh, yeah, it's like when I send in my taxes, I'm like, this is the worst thing in the world. Please buy a fighter jet with this and not gold toilets, for the Pentagon, that type of thing. So when I'm making that investment, I know it's going for something good. And then I'm also getting back, here's the reports, and I can actually, see, I can actually feel what's that's doing. And that's empowering. Yeah. And empowering and also, inspiring to say, hey, can I give more? Can I, with my organization, can I get more people involved, more chiropractors involved with this? And, if I do a fundraiser at the clinic, this is going for this. This is where this money's going that our patients are donating or whatever the case might be. So I greatly appreciate you doing that. And just to give me some clarification, you talk about the Chiropractic Defense Council, that $33 a month. This $45 a month that you're talking about, that's something different. And where does someone go to? Yeah,
it's not ready yet. Yeah, okay. This is my vision. This is the math that I've done, and I'm trying to sell this So those of you listening, we're a bit ahead of ourselves on this. I'm just ready. I've had enough conversations. I believe I have the groups that need to play along, almost ready to play along. And I'm not the only one doing it. There's a group of us that have this vision that we're trying to have honest conversations to say now's the time, because we really do have 3 years. This administration is going to term out, and who knows what's going to happen next.
Right.
There's no proof that there's going to be J.D. Vance or anyone within the Trump administration that's going to be able to continue what we're doing, or even if they will when Trump's not there. Trump's God's unique weapon right now to just say, I don't give a flying flip, and I'm going to do what I want to do. And we don't, because he's not worried about re-election. He's not worried about money. So it's a unique time. So I'm trying my hardest to push this right now. I promise you, if I can get this done, I'm hoping it's done by the end of the year. And then come in 2026, we'll be pushing hard. But if my visions plays out right, you'll be hearing it from everyone. You'll be hearing it from foot levelers. You'll be hearing it from standard process. You'll be hearing it from your malpractice carriers. You'll be hearing it from your state associations. Everyone's going to come out and say, hey, we built something new. We're all a part of this. We're asking you to give 45. So right now, the 45 is just the money that I've had. It may be a different number. That's just the vision God's given me that I've done the math on to be able to play the scenario out. But it's not. There's no place to go yet on this. But it's coming. And so I want to be a little prophetic and just get people prepared. I don't know when this episode will air, but by then we might be, but it's going to be an atomic bomb. I mean, people are going to know when it's time.
Good. Well, We need that in chiropractic. It's sad that it takes an atomic bomb to get our attention. But for me, I'll just let you know, I'll be the first one.
Love it.
To sign up, both my daughter and I, and to support that and to get the word out any way we can. And I'm hoping that you listening today, but you can get involved right now. Look up One Chiropractic, look up the Chiro Defense Council, and start with that $33 a month right now. And because that is in play right at the moment, and that is making a difference.
And if it's okay, Doc, can I interrupt? Because I also want people to know, yes, I need your help. So until this new thing's built, we're obviously doing everything we're doing off of these $33 contributions. But I want people to understand the direct, immediate impact to them and the return to them. We want to be your legal partner. We want to be the person you call when you have something you don't understand that's going on in your practice. So yes, you're funding our work of the big issues like the pediatrics and x-rays and animal chiropractic and fair reimbursement and all the stuff that we're doing in that regard, getting chiropractic into the military. Those are our big projects that we're doing. But there is an immediate benefit to you as an individual that's contributing, and that's the ability to reach out to us. I don't care what happens. We should be the first call on almost anything that happens other than a patient, passing out on a bed. Call your malpractice carrier for that kind of stuff. But anything else, if there's ever a complaint, if there's ever anything weird that happened in your practice and you're just not sure how you should document that, what you should do, we want to be that safe place that you can go to. I know people are sometimes worried to contact their malpractice carrier because they don't want any nicks against them or their rates to go up. None of that stuff happens with us. We may not always take your case on, but we are a safe place for you to have those conversations. I have heard it all. There's nothing you're going to say to me that I'm going to be like, what in the world? I'm going to be like, all right, let's just talk this through, relax. I just had a chiropractor call me the other day. She's like, I just got this letter from this, and I haven't been able to sleep all weekend. And I'm like, relax. That's a blanket letter. It's not that big a deal. We see it all the time. Here are the things I want you to do. She sent me an email the next day. She's like, you have no idea. You saved me because I was going to spiral because I don't understand it. I don't know. That's the value we bring. So for $33 a month, you at least have a partner that's always on your side. Always.
Exactly.
And that's the immediate value that you get for being a part of us.
Very good. Well, that is a great service to the profession for sure. And Baron, thank you so much, not only for joining us today, but what you do for the chiropractic profession. And God raises up certain people for certain times. And brother, I can tell you that you have been chosen for this. And I greatly appreciate it. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. And we just got to get it out to the whole profession and get everybody behind this. And we can surely come together on this and it's going to benefit everybody, no matter what you do, no matter what your technique is, no matter what your philosophy is. This will benefit you and your practice and the overall profession moving forward. So thank you. Appreciate all of you listening today on the Chiropractic Podcast. And if you want more information on what Baron does, you can look up One Chiropractic, the Chiropractic Defense Council. And also, if you want to know more about AMC Aligned, amcfamily.com, and you can get all the information that you need there. So appreciate you joining us, and have a blessed day.
God bless. Thanks so much.